And next we're going to do it is increasing the variety in the foreground and maybe in the midground. And yeah, the 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 ideation process, or you can say design principle that we're going to follow, it's exactly the same as we previously talking about, the idea of composition, the linear composition, the idea of grouping the structure, grouping the value, and also the idea of big, medium, and small. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And yeah, I think overall, what I'm first to do is remove the some of the well, not remove, turn off the background and the background. Oh, accident! Open a keyshot. I'm not gonna using that software yet. And I think in the foreground we got a lot of good um, kit badge set that we can use, which is this Chinese medicine, because it got a lot of small detail and middle detail, and is perfect for putting in the foreground because it got a lot of element and props attached to it, and they are all shape and form interactive with the human scale. And yeah, and also we still wanted this kind of linear perspective, which is the linear angle, the simple boxy shape, creating the literally line, and also this line going to be aligned with the perspective, so we're going to creating a radiation, look. And yeah, this is something I wanted to do. Also by creating the foreground element, we're going to creating a layer inside the foreground, right? And those layers going to overlapping each other and creating a very good rhythm. And this is exactly what we needed to do. Something like this. And as you can see, uh, so yeah, I choosing this Chinese medical room, which is something I gonna place in the foreground. And yeah, let me speed up a bit. Well, not a bit, a lot. And also, we also need to take a look at think about the shape and form analyze, right? And overall, this is a very boxy shape and form. So, it is great, because maybe I don't want it to foreground to be overwhelming with too many settled element, but I want the overall silhouette and the phone language and shape language to keep cohesive the boxy look. And oh yeah, like now I was doing a little bit over to demonstrating one thing, which is this is still making a great perspective. And also yeah, in here I'm trying to do a little bit a demo of by increasing this a box, we can consider it is just a box. We are creating another layer. They are overlapping with the background, and that's exactly the result we wanted to achieve, creating the more layer and more contrast. And yeah, and right now I am trying to organize a little bit and I'll put it in the collection, which I usually won't do actually. Yeah, as you can see that we're creating this linear radiation perspective composition, and our foreground element is perfectly aligned with this kind of position. I mean, by perfectly, not just be saying the perspective is correct, which is, well, is less, it's very not easy to get perspective wrong when you put organize your thing in 3D. But uh, the also important is this kind of shape and form also following our composition, and those are very important to just repeat, just repeat and repeat. Just that's very just something we want to. The reason the previously I'm talking about so much about the sync process is because these things really are our lifesaver. Is our to-do list going to guide us in the later on. Every decision, every move is we try to bring back to the our first step when think about composition, think about big, medium, small, think about the layering, think about the big foreground, background, background, foreground, midground, and yeah, um, I think this is great, and I will continue to do it. And yeah, okay, back to the continuity to design the element. Also, there's some material they got emission, and also I turn off the emission because emission going to increasing a lot of render time, or going to make our scene more heavier, especially when we design with the render to turn on with the lighting and everything. Um, so right now I decided to delete this wooden box because as a person who living in Asia, I don't get away Chinese medicine who have to this weird wooden box, but actually is a great contract, because the yellow and warm color is a great contrast in the foreground, because if our foreground is going to be inside shadow, it's going to be lighting by the skylights, right? So our foreground basically going to be a very much cold color, and wooden box with warm color is going to increasing a good contrast. But just I don't want this contrast to happen on the the edge of the composition. I don't want to grab it too much attention. To me, foreground is kind of a settled element to bring more story, more settled detail, but not it is increasing the information, but it's like not taking over the contract. That's the foreground element that I feel like I would do, and also I delete some of the little essay inside, because I just wanted to reduce some model into level out the efficiency to make the scene more lighter, and also I was duplicate this room again. So remember we wanted to previously I was talking about like by duplicating and linear, you see we creating a rhythm, this array going to creating a rhythm for our scene, and this is and also this rhythm creating a linear perspective composition. So right, it just I'm just like repeat myself again and again by using different way, right? And the previously this sign you could be using again, putting here and there, or like of course later on I will change, and I was trying to looking for is there any interesting element they can using. And I feel like this light, the street light, is a pretty interesting element that we can put in our thing, is because this thing also could be array into a repetition, a rhythm, a line. So I think it is great, and but I don't want this street lantern to be symmetry. I want this thing just be like an L shape, just have one direction rather than two. And yeah, I just tried to place them and adjust the design, because we are not in the on the street, right? This is kind of like a second floor or something. So I was thinking about maybe it's a traffic light for flying vehicle. But of course later on I didn't do any flying a vehicle because I can't too lazy about it. So yeah, but I just try to adjust it to make it more like attachment on the building. And as you can see, by duplicating, we can creating a gray array effect. And yeah, this is, I think we are getting somewhere. But of course, if every lantern, three lantern got this messy cable, maybe it's going to be a bit overwhelming. I'm not sure, but I think at least I can try to remove one. Also, it's because this messy cable is should be had some kind of variety, right? I just feel like it's going to be very tricky to do in 3D. I mean, if you got a gray add-on, it could be very easy. But to me, these things will be easier to do in 2D. If if later on I feel necessary, I can do it in 2D and just pen over this cable is a lot easier, or just using some photo bashing texture or photo. So yeah, by moving the lantern above of the foreground, it's actually giving us another depth, another layer, and also it's like your eye will follow the lantern, go to a little upper, and also moving to the background. It is it's just it's just like a what it's literally repetition. I'm just not just not I'm not just repeat the lantern. Also, I repeat myself, repeat the idea, and also I got another idea, which is there's a many element, very cool element on the in the environment. So I wanted to extending this element as my main language, my main shape and form language to redesign the scene. And also, I think this is going to be very interesting, and we're going to talk about it on the next chapter.